Hey, what's going on? This is your boy B, and welcome to All In, where we go beyond the product. And today we have DP, and he's going to share with us how he goes all in. So we're here at his gym, HX Fitness, and he's going to talk about him being an entrepreneur, a CEO, a mentor, a father, a model, and then as well as he is a great dancer. So we're going to learn all that plus more in just a second. So let's get right into it. Let's get into the origin, your genesis, because I know you didn't start here.
Right.
You started somewhere, and take us back to that point, and then walk us through to present day.
I started in fitness literally probably 2004 when I graduated college. That would probably be because after I graduated college, I stopped playing basketball. I played basketball in college. So I was a little bit more into working out and fitness and things of that nature. But even in that point, I still didn't know what I was doing. Even going through college and playing basketball and going through workouts, we worked out, but there wasn't any education on working out. We have a workout day and we squat, bench, jump, maybe do some curls and stuff like that, but it wasn't anything designed for us to, change the way our bodies looked. It was just basically to make sure that we were strong in certain areas that we need to be strong in for the court. So, after I graduated college, I didn't want to get fat. I didn't go on to play basketball overseas like I planned on. So I started working out, and I was the same as the clients that I get now. I had the same questions. I wanted to know how to get abs. I would work out, but I would eat McDonald's afterwards, and I had the buff look, but I didn't have the physique that I wanted as far as, abs and the slender look or the tone look, cut look, however you want to put it. I just started getting a little bit more involved in it, and from 2004 to 2013, I had two different jobs. One I had for 8 years, the other one I had for about a year and a half. And I was a manager I started as a supervisor, worked my way up to an operations manager at Lowe's. Ended up getting fired from there after 8 years. Still a little bitter about it, but it put me into another position as operation manager at Home Depot. Hated that place. Ended up getting fired from there. So the only two jobs I've ever had in my life I've been fired from. That day I had my son was about to be born. This was right at the end of 2012. And I went to the gym because I didn't know how to go home and explain I don't have a job anymore, I'm the breadwinner. And ended up picking up a client, and she ended up paying me about $35 a week, and I was making about $87,000 a year, and going and paying $35 a week. I couldn't turn it down because I didn't have a job at the point, so I started working with her. She got results. I started to manage a gym in Valdosta, Georgia called Anytime Fitness. Didn't know anything about, like I said, didn't know anything about training, didn't know anything about managing a gym, but I needed a job. They gave me a job. And, I said, hey, if I want to start training, so you can use our training guide. If you pick up clients, you can have them. And it was really one of those, they didn't kind of believe in me type thing, like, yeah, whatever, if you can do something, do it. And I ended up taking it serious. I went and got my certification. Like I said, I started training this young lady. That turned into a month later me having a few more clients. Then that turned into me towards the beginning of 2013, middle of 2013, reaching out to Deshaun Johnson. I was trying to find people in Atlanta that I knew or that I knew of. This is again when social media just came out, Instagram just came out, and reached out to him. Kind of blew me off a couple times, and then finally said, I got an opportunity if you want to help me in this, what's it called? Real Housewives of Atlanta. They have a event going on. They need some people that are fit that can work out. It's called a Bailey Bowl. I'm like, yeah, I'll come in. So went in there, met him for the first time, met Portia Williams for the first time, Candy for the first time, and the rest was history after that.
So let's peel back a little bit, because I want to go back to the moment or the time period that you were fired. I don't know if people out there who have been fired, and you're being the breadwinner. What mentally, where were you? And you went from 87,000 to being $35 a week. It's a mental shift that must happen at that point. You can't just go from that and just be like, all right, it's sunny outside.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So, being fired twice, fired the first time after working for 8 years on the only career I've ever had, that was devastating, because it went from me going on food stamps to getting checks from the government, which was half of what I was getting before. Trying to live off of that, and then exhausting my 401k, exhausting my savings, getting another job, within that year and a half, trying to build that back up, and then lose again, and having to figure everything out, and I wasn't as effective as I was the first time. The second time it was more like, okay, you've been here before. What do you want to do? And I knew the option of working for corporate was never going to be another option for me ever. And especially when, I had a son about to be born. My son was born in April. Again, this happened the end of the year in 2012. My son was born April 9th, 2013. So my whole mentality had to shift. I'm about to bring a kid into this world, a young man into this world. And I always tell people, I don't have any other options. Failure isn't an option for me. So you got to figure it out, and I always tell people, if your back is really up against the wall and you're in a corner, you're going to do two things. You're either going to fold or you're going to fight, and I've never been somebody to quit or give up. I've been through a lot in my life, which I'm pretty sure everybody else has. But a lot of my experience have been personal life, experiences that would have probably had most fold. And I just know for myself, I never want to tell my son I can't do something for him, or, be that type of man that, that I would definitely want to be for my son. And my father was a great man for me and always provided and was always there. So I wanted to make sure I can still do the same thing for my son. And if you fail or not getting back up and trying again and figuring out what caused the fall, and that's, where I kind of place myself in a different category, as far as just really mentally headstrong. And just if there's something that I see and I want to do versus, being it business-wise or physically-wise, if somebody else can do it, like, my question to myself is, why not me?
So I can, and now that, like, when I look at and I pan around your facility, your gym, I see words, right. Integrity, diversity, failure is not an option. And now it helps me to get a better understanding of, I get, okay, why that's up there, but I always want to know, like, there's a meaning, some more. Yeah. And now that you are shared that, I get it now a little. I understand. It means more than what. Oh, okay, I know what integrity is, but why did you want integrity there? Why did you want failure is not an option? Because what did that mean to you?
So what you see, and there's a word missing up there is passion. And basically it's supposed to say pride. And it's an acronym for pride. It's an acronym that I learned working at Lowe's. It was something that, we created at that facility that, we pride ourselves on. And, working for a company for 8 years and, being fresh out of college, like, I was all in, and I was marching and walking and being that person that I needed to be to advance. And that's what I was doing. I was advancing through the company. And it was just, a foundation that I grew to become a part, and I took in and made it my own. And I just constantly wanted to live by those type of principles and rules, if I ever opened up my own facility. And, that's why I put it on the wall, just as a reminder of where you started from, and a reminder of what this gym represents.
I saw a post that one of, I think the gym manager, I believe, had a birthday.
Right.
And you had a really great message about him. That touched me, you know what I mean? And because you're trusting someone.
Right.
You're delegating, you're empowering,
right.
You're helping to elevate someone's elevator. What does that mean to you to do that?
Denzel has been just a brother that I've never had. I call him my little big brother. He's 6'6", so, and I'm 5'9", so it looks weird. But I've always just talked to him. When you have conversations with other men, there's always usually a pride thing, especially when you're trying to help them out or elevate them or just give them some type of information that's going to help better them. It's hard for that person, there you go right there.
What y'all talking about over here?
Talking about you, actually.
Talking
about you. But, he's actually somebody who was searching for, somebody to instill in him, and believe in what he does. And I'm an observer, so I'm very observant about what's going on around people and how they move. And I always just stood back and just watched him work. And, he came up to me one day and he wanted to network and wanted to connect. And, he tried to give me $2,000 to open up the gym. I'm like, man, that ain't gonna help out at all. But, I got a different way that you can help me. And, we've been tight ever since then. And, every bit of information that I give him, he takes it in. If it doesn't work, he tries it again. And it's funny because we just had a conversation yesterday, and he's like, man, everything you told me has worked. It may not work the first time, but I never stopped, and it eventually started working for me. Within a 3-year mark to be where he's at, there's a lot of trainers that aren't even halfway to where he's at. He's really in Atlanta for what he's doing. I would consider him probably at the top of the ladder as far as how many clients he has, the quickness and he may not be recognized on Instagram as much as I am or some of the other trainers, but I guarantee he has way more clients than probably most trainers in Atlanta.
It's tough for people to delegate,
right.
To trust. I'm an entrepreneur, and I know when I first started out, it was just me solo,
right.
And that was just me, and that became a habit,
right.
And I was okay with that. But then as things began to grow, we began to bring on different individuals. And I struggling through that process, making that transition has been a struggle. What is some, advice or, how do you make that transition to trust people? And this is your baby.
So I was forced into it. I tore my Achilles 6 months ago. And again, I kind of took everything on. And don't get me wrong, I had people in certain positions. But when I tore my Achilles, I had to be down for a month, could not leave the house. So no clients, no classes, couldn't come to the gym. And again, this is my year anniversary. I'm in a boot, so at that point I had to trust Denzel, I had to trust City, I had to trust my mother, I had to trust everybody at the gym to make sure that the gym kept growing and kept moving and kept bringing money in because I could not physically be here. So it was a humbling experience, and it was something, like I said, I was kind of forced into it because I do a lot, and I move a lot, and everybody tell me sit down, just slow down, and God probably was like, I'm gonna gonna sit your ass down, or I'm gonna make you. And he made me sit down. And you know, although I hate that I had to go through that injury and that experience, I'm glad that I did. You know, because it brought me back to a different place, a different mindset, and in order to grow, I had to trust and I had to delegate a little bit more and, you know, challenge people to think differently.
You know, we over here, we call it transformation over transaction.
Right.
And so that's the part where where, you know, you have a quote, you know, that I look at every day when I come here to the gym is, and my mentor told me, how you do anything is how you do everything.
Right.
And so if you are looking for, if you're in that transformation mindset here, then that's going to carry over to here. Just like, you know, you have skills that carried over from when you were at Lowe's, Home Depot, to where you are today. So as you're talking, I'm like, my eyes is lighting up. I'm like, man, he on point. How important is it to you to be a part of your son's life and to help develop him and get him to that point? And also, how has it given you perspective? You know, because before you have a child, you know, it's a little different. But then when you have one, it's like
different again.
It's different again. You see the world differently and things. So kind of talk a little bit about that.
So the thing about my son Denham, he was planned. So, you know, it wasn't an accident, baby. You know, me and his mom knew what we wanted to do. And we went on and had it. So at that point, when we had our discussion on where we want our future to go and what we want to do and move forward with having a child, we already had in our head what we were signing up for. So for me, I'm obligated, you know, to make sure that I raise this kid, this boy, my son, the best way I can. I'm obligated to prepare him for the world. You know, we're in a world now where you don't know what to do if you get pulled over by the police. If to look for it, put your hands on the steering wheel, or, you know, get out the car and let them grab everything. You don't know anymore. And he's a young black kid, so he has to be prepared for this type of stuff. You know, you might not even be able to walk down the street and put a hood on. Somebody might think that you're up to no good, you know, so he's gonna have to understand life, and especially the paradigm and perspective of a young black kid versus any other type of child in this world. He's going to have it a lot harder. But he has to also know how to respond, respect, and how to move in certain situations. Not only that, you know, we're still climbing that ladder of racism and things like that. And I'm not even, I never looked at gender, but or race, because I never really had a problem. I've always thought and think that my work ethic will put me to where I need to be. And I got fired because of racism from Lowe's, which was why I'm still a little bitter about it. But I've never really had to deal with racism to an extreme point. But I've dealt with it enough to make sure that my son is prepared for it, knows what it is. You know, we're in the month of February, so he's getting talks about Black history and things like that. So I definitely have talks with him every day. What did you guys talk about in school? He's telling me about Dr. Martin Luther King and his whole process, and just to hear a 5-year-old, you know, and what his perspective is on what he's seen, it's weird to me, because I'm like, damn, at 5 years old, we have to teach our kids Black history. We have to teach our kids who our leaders were before us. But then to hear him talk at 5 years old, I'm like, damn, at 5 years old, he's seen the divide of skin color.
My last two questions for you. The first question is that, you know, man, I be looking at your Instagram.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm following, you know, your HX Fitness. I'm following you.
Right.
I'm following Heat. You know, you're doing meal planning. You're doing, you know, live talks. You're doing, I see you, you know, doing the dance and everything. I'm like, man, I might need to do it. Your rhythm is on point too. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, all right, cool. That's, you know, when Diddy was talking about the dance, I'm like, all right, yeah, Diddy need to come here, cause DP on it. Like, man, you doing everything, man. Like, you going all in.
Right.
Like, why?
I have another option.
Yeah.
You know, I was taught a long time ago that you always have to have 5 streams of income. So everything that you just mentioned are different income revenue alleys for me. And, you know, let's say the gym fails or falls or goes down or hell blows up for some reason. I still have online training. Let's say online training goes off, I still have the gym. Or I still have meal plans. I always try to put myself in positions to where if one of the 5 falls off, then I can add something else to it. Or just, I mean, I'm still doing other things outside of fitness. Like I said, I do speaking engagements, I own property. I'm about to start a whole mentoring program for trainers coming up. Just, again, constantly thinking outside the box. If you want to be a successful entrepreneur, you have a roadmap, but you create your map. You create which direction you want it to go. And you know, I said this at one of my last talks, is the worst thing to be is on a highway with somebody who doesn't know where they're going, you know, or who's in your lane and has no map to where they're going. The thing is, I stay in my lane, I have the map to where I want to go, so I choose the speed, I choose the direction, and I guide and I move this whole process. So I can never compare myself to somebody else and what they're doing. I knew what I wanted to do when I came here.
So I want to say thank you first and foremost.
I appreciate
you know, I always want to, I always want to give people the roses while they're still here and present, right? And that's really why we were encouraged to do All In, because we knew there was a lot of great people out here that are doing amazing things.
Right.
Let's go in and find these individuals and let's talk to them and let's begin to get something from their story and get inspired. Because again, like I said, we're in a time where we can do it. Right. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I wish I can be when Malcolm X was here. You know what I mean? Martin, I'm watching the videos. I'm like, man, that was,
nice.
It would have been nice.
Right.
So I want to say again, I appreciate you and thank you. And then also, let everybody know where they can follow you, and things of that nature.
So you guys can follow me on Instagram. I am the real DP, IAMTHEREALDP, HX Fitness, Shed Fat, which is my online supplement company, SHEDFAT, Heat Extreme with an X instead of an E. What else? I got so many different channels. Everything I just said is the same channel on Facebook and Twitter. But we out here, man. Atlanta, Georgia, West Midtown. Best gym in Atlanta, 24 hours. Come take some classes, get involved, get the energy, feel the energy. My name's Daryl Patterson. You'll see me sometime, somewhere soon, I promise you. And I appreciate it.
No, absolutely, absolutely. So there we have it. This is the All In series where we're going beyond the product. This is your boy B. I'm with my boy DP, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you.